them the authority to see opportunities and run with them, and find opportunities to make things more efficient or to serve our clients better. Usually they're a better source than we are. And so recognizing that and acknowledging that, and that's when you know that you made the right hire, is really fundamental.
Yeah, I always say it's your call. It's your call. I don't know. It's your call. You do it. Do whatever you want. I'm not addicted to it. So I think that goes a long way, because when people own their roles, they want to give back and they want to develop it. And they really, I find that, well, at least with the people that we hire, people really want to do a good job and they want to come to work, especially here at RESA, because it's a service, we're giving back to people and helping people. And I think that can be really rewarding as well. Let's talk about systems a little bit. Because I know you are very strong on systems as well.
Yes, I am a huge systems nerd. So my background actually is not in the creative side of things. My background is in finance. So I was doing corporate finance for a good chunk of time. And then I spent nearly a decade actually managing multi-million-dollar budgets for the Navy. And so all of that kind of brought in the logical side of things. So when I stepped into home staging as an industry, it was finding all of these opportunities for me to basically build out math equations in my head into what we're doing. And sometimes that was directly related to dollars, but sometimes that's in the processes that we are doing, in the way that we are approaching something. And as you grow, there are different moments throughout your business that I've learned that you now need to systemize something. So early on in those stages, I may only take one sales call a day, for example, where I'm still getting my feet wet and getting used to it. But once I hit a place where I'm generating 3 sales calls a day, then heck, we need to have a script, because I've got a pretty good idea of how those conversations go, what the objections are going to be and how I can handle them, or proactively approach them before they even come up. So it really just comes down to, in each place and season you're in your business, asking the question, are there things that I'm doing on a consistent basis now that maybe I wasn't doing 6 months ago? And if the answer is yes, I can probably build a system around it.
It's interesting too, because there's like no limit of systems of what you can do. But in reality, I don't even think there's such thing as like a system overload, because if it's just perfection at that point, that's where you really get into that well-oiled machine. Because if everything has a system, everything's operating, all the cogs are moving, at the same time, and there's no, break in that chain, so to speak. And then when there is one, you know exactly where it's at and how you can fix it, because everything's working well.
The other thing I love about systems is once you start identifying, we need a system for this because we're doing it so often, then you get to bring technology into the mix. So you get to do your research and find out what software is out there, what kind of AI opportunities are there that can help support your business. And now all of a sudden you're saving this massive labor cost because you've been able to delegate some of the work that you used to be doing manually. And that's when it gets really fun.
I'm super excited about the AI. I'm not gonna lie. I am just like, I know everything that's new. Everybody's like, oh, the sky is falling. What are we going to do? AI is going to put us all out of work. And I'm like, heck, no, it's not. It's going to make your life so much easier. And I know a lot of people are resistant to change, especially like I'm in my mid 50s. So when you get to be my age and older, some of us can be resistant to change on small occasions, maybe. Learning new technology, I like learning it, but there's definite, when I'm looking at something, sometimes you can just look at it and you just get a little bit overwhelmed and then you don't want to delve into it. And I just want everybody to get past that point. Go ahead and delve, sit in it for a while to try to learn something, even though, if your head's kind of moving around, because you'll figure it out. And then once you do, man, AI especially, I'm fascinated by it. We are looking at every single way that we can utilize AI within RESA for everything.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. And what is also great about AI is it's very user friendly for the most part. You end up basically having conversations with AI and they help you through being able to use it as tools and resources. But the sky is really the limit. And when it comes to making your business more efficient, when it comes to making your business more successful and saving you time, especially for all of us that are just so busy running our businesses and doing the day-to-day, if we can delegate and delegate out for something that's free or really cost effective, it's always a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on. You're going to talk also in your session at RESACON about the importance of really identifying your niche. This is something that another thing that I think most people do from the beginning is they don't do that and they do the shotgun effect. And it's like, Well, stagers do color consults and space planning and organization and, packing, and they do everything. And it's like, that's just a whole lot of stuff. And then they get in it. And then as they're doing it, then they kind of weed out what they figure they don't like to do. Is there ways to be able to kind of have some foresight into those niche things, that tools that people can say that I don't want to have to do these color consults for 6 months to realize that that's not my gig?
I think there are some ways to do that. So some of the very best business advice that I got before I started Linden Creek was actually identify your niche. And they said that, and I thought that is terrifying, because the scariest thing, especially for a brand new entrepreneur, is to say no to a business opportunity when you are just dying to have somebody say, yes, I will pay you money for your services. And so making the intentional decision to say no to somebody and not knowing if someone else is going to come next is a really scary decision, but it's so necessary, because what I found is when you jump in and you go, this is who I am, this is how I am used as a service, this is where I can benefit you, and I'm not going to be the right fit for you, and I'm not the right fit for you, but this is exactly what I do, and I do it well. People respect that at a new level. And so you end up with even more growth than you would if you're trying to serve everyone. Now, identifying what your niche is going to be honest, I think there is some testing in that, and that's okay. You've got to sort of run the waters and go, let me try this as a one-off. How does that feel? Is that something that I love? Is that something that I feel like makes sense for where I want the business to go? Because you can say, I pick the luxury market and I'm only going to do vacant staging, but you may find out that occupieds are really the aspect of the business that you love, and you don't want the headache of having a warehouse. So I do think there's a little bit of testing, but it's easier to test a concept for 1 or 2 tries and get a gut feeling as you pivot into the market. The other thing when it comes to identifying your niche is you may think that you're serving a certain market, but the market may say otherwise. I know that's what happened in my business. I thought we're going to kind of sit in this mid-market kind of value for house. And I just got so excited about buying such beautiful things for houses that we accidentally fell into the luxury market very, very early on. And I thought, I don't know that I'm qualified to say luxury and for us to be serving these houses. But the market said, no, this is exactly what we need, and this is where we're missing it. And once I embraced that, I was really ready to run, and we took it to the next level. But I think there is some testing that's okay to do as you kind of figure out who you are and what you're going to serve.
Yeah, I just don't want people to sit in it I know people have done things for years, and then they look back and they say, after 2 years going, why am I doing this? And is it profitable as well?
Yes.
Because you don't, like I said, I like it better when somebody's really, really great at what they do. It's like, do what you do and do the best at that. Because if you are going to have another service where you're only, 25% great at it, that kind of, that's off brand for you. You just want to do things really, really well. I think people, like you said, people respect that. And even turning down the jobs, what I find too, is that I get it's painful. Man, I understand, I do. But not everybody's the right fit. And the headache that it brings you after the fact is astronomical. And when you do say no to the job, there's ways to say it respectfully, we're not a great fit, let me refer you to somebody else. That in itself, while scary, is super empowering, because you're learning something. You learned how to do that. Now you've got practice at telling somebody we're not the right fit. You've practiced one time, let's do it again. Because also when you are closing off opportunities that aren't the good fit, it makes room for the ones that are. And miraculously, when you just keep putting out the same thing, that's what you're going to start attracting into your business. And the ones that you're going to say no to, you're going to start getting less of those. It's just the law of attraction and the way the universe works.
Absolutely. The other thing I found is sometimes when you say no to a client, that suddenly makes you even more attractive. And so they want your services even more. So they may not have a vacant staging when, at that moment, and that's the service you provide, but you better believe that they are trying to find the vacant stage so they can work with you in the future, or referring you out. And so there's this interesting, cat and mouse sort of chasing game that unintentionally happens when you do say no. The business always seems to come back at some point in time in some way.
It does. I've got a funny quick story about that. Years ago, where I lived in California, while I was running RESA, there was nobody around to even just do consultations for people. So I put up a website and said, in my little area, because it was very rural, I'll help you all out. I'll come out and do a consultation, not a problem. Some lady called, and apparently when she called, she researched me. She had like a whole dossier on me. When I got there, there's all these, printed out magazines and newspaper quotes and websites and blogs. And I was like, this is a little interesting, but okay. But she called me and said, I want you to come. It was an hour away. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, it's out of my service area. Let me get somebody that's more in your area. She said, no, 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 I want you. I want you. I've read all about you. I've been spending, a week on this. And I was like, it's a consult, a walk and talk consult. And she's like, how much do you charge? And I'm like, 600. They were like $250, $300. This is like 15 years ago. And she's like, do you take cash?
You just never know.
You just never know. And I also find with people, when people turn something down too, just politely, but that you're not hanging on to anything. And you're like, I'm going to release this out into the world. It does come back to you that way. It really, really does. It's quite amazing. She actually ended up becoming a little bit of a friend. So afterwards, so it was kind of, it's
a lot of fun.
amazing how the world works for sure. So let's just talk about conferences in general.
Yes.
Your first time to RESACON?
This is going to be my second time to RESACON. Last year was my very
Last
first.
year was the first. Okay, good. So you did get the M Resort experience.
I did. It is a fantastic hotel. I'll be honest, I love that it's not directly on the strip. I think that's a really nice thing because you really get to focus where you want to focus. But great accommodations, absolutely beautiful space, and you get to be surrounded by so many other people that are in your line of work and have these conversations with them outside of conference hours. And I think that's, so there's so much value in that.
Yeah, I love it. They're really great people out there, and the food is to die for. There's so much food. And so all the meals are taken care of. When we get there, we're going to have a celebration party kickoff where you get to meet everybody as everyone's coming in. You get to meet the sponsors. So we'll have appetizers and a no-host bar and a lot of fun stuff happening this year. We're going to have Daniel Kaufman back. He did the awards last year. He's not going to do the awards this year, but he's going to be doing some other things. Luann Nigera is going to be doing the awards again this year with me. So we're super excited. And, I find too that not only do the sessions help people, but the conversations that you have with the other people, your sideline conversations, and you're going to meet somebody. I have a lot of people that say, I don't want to go by myself. I'm like, you're literally there with hundreds of other people. Everybody is really friendly. If you're a little bit on the shy side, come up to one of our volunteers or RESA staff members, and we will introduce you to somebody. We will pair you up with somebody. There's always somebody to talk to. So it's really an educational event for everybody, worth going.
Absolutely. One of the things that I did last year that I'm so thankful for is I said, every time we, settle back in between sessions, I'm going to sit at a new table and meet some new friends. And just being able to have these unique conversations and hear how other people are running their business or how different geographic areas impact what they're doing was absolutely fascinating. And those are relationships that I've been able to carry through ever since, and I'm thankful for.
Yeah, it's nice after the fact because even if you have stagers in your area, sometimes just you might click with somebody who's outside the area, and to be able to have somebody on speed dial to say, hey, this just happened. What would you do? Or just, run something past somebody else. Just, am I thinking about this the right way? It's just so helpful. So incredibly
Absolutely
helpful. I do find that stagers in general, 95%, they just want everybody to succeed and, have really positive attitudes about the industry as well.
Absolutely. That was one thing I noticed too, is everyone was so welcoming and more than willing to share information. It wasn't you're my competition, let me keep things hush hush. It was, we're here and we're friends and we're all trying to be successful together. So let's talk through our pain points. Let's talk through our successes. Let's brainstorm ideas together. And that was really neat to be a part of.
Yep. I love it. Well, we're about at the end of our time. So any final thoughts on your session, or is this geared more towards somebody's brand new, middle of the road staging business or seasoned?
This is really going to be geared towards somebody that's in the middle of the road, that you've gotten your feet wet. You have a pretty good idea for who you are and where you want to go, and you want to grow. Not everybody necessarily wants a massive staging company, and there's not a right or wrong, but this is really geared for people that want to scale and build their business in a really cool exponential way. And I'm excited to share our thoughts on all of this.
Well, I'm super stoked for it. Come, if you haven't gotten off that fence, if you're on the fence about RESACON and you are unsure about attending, one thing I will tell you is that 100% of the people that don't go until year 3, when we survey them, say they wish they would have gone year 1. So jump off that fence, run to your computer, don't walk, and go to resaconvention.com and sign up today. Alisa, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Shell.
And everybody else, until next time, happy staging, guys. Bye.
Bye.